The notion that scientists and mainstream media are deceiving the public about climate change has become a pervasive conspiracy theory in recent years. Proponents of this idea claim that there is a massive cover-up, with scientists and journalists intentionally distorting or withholding information to promote a specific agenda. However, a closer examination of the evidence and the reasons behind this perceived deception reveals a more nuanced reality. One of the primary reasons for this misconception is the misconception that there is a unanimous consensus among scientists about the severity and causes of climate change. While it is true that the overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree that human activities are significantly contributing to global warming, there are some dissenting voices. These minority views are often amplified by media outlets and politicians to create the impression that the scientific community is divided on the issue. In reality, the consensus among scientists is clear: human-induced climate change is real, and it poses a significant threat to the environment, human health, and the economy. Another factor contributing to the perception of deception is the complexity of climate science. The Earth's climate system is an intricate and dynamic entity, and understanding its workings requires a high degree of technical expertise. Scientists often use specialized language and statistical models to describe their findings, which can be difficult for non-experts to comprehend. This complexity can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations, which can be exploited by those seeking to cast doubt on the validity of climate science. The role of mainstream media in shaping public perception of climate change is also a critical factor. While some media outlets have been accused of dampening or distorting the facts about climate change, others have been criticized for sensationalizing the issue or presenting it in a biased manner. The 24-hour news cycle and the need for attention-grabbing headlines can sometimes lead to the oversimplification or exaggeration of complex scientific issues, creating a distorted view of the facts. Furthermore, the media's reliance on controversy and conflict can create the impression that the scientific community is deeply divided on the issue, when in fact, the consensus is clear. In addition, the influence of special interest groups and lobbying organizations should not be underestimated. Fossil fuel companies, in particular, have a vested interest in casting doubt on the science of climate change, as it threatens their business model and profits. These groups often use their significant resources to fund campaigns and research that undermine the credibility of climate science, creating the impression that the scientific community is divided or that the issue is still uncertain. It is also worth noting that the accusation of deception is often leveled against scientists and journalists by those who have a vested interest in denying the reality of climate change. Politicians and business leaders who oppose climate action often use the rhetoric of conspiracy to discredit the scientific consensus and delay meaningful action. By casting doubts on the integrity of scientists and journalists, these individuals can create a smokescreen that obscures the facts and prevents a nuanced discussion of the issue. In conclusion, the notion that scientists and mainstream media are lying to us about climate change is a misconception that has been fueled by a combination of factors, including the complexity of climate science, the influence of special interest groups, and the amplification of minority views by media outlets and politicians. While there may be some disagreements among scientists about the details of climate change, the overwhelming consensus is clear: human activities are significantly contributing to global warming, and urgent action is needed to mitigate its effects. By understanding the reasons behind this perceived deception, we can work to create a more informed and nuanced discussion of climate change, one that is based on the best available evidence and a commitment to truth and accuracy.